Hello, everybody. Welcome to Mouth So Reckless.
Mouth So Reckless.
Mouth So Reckless.
Ow.
We gotta mess with the octaves, as you know, we supposed to say it like 3 times.
Mouth So Reckless.
Yes, we are. Thank you so much for tuning in on this opportune Wednesday evening. I'm going to have to use my studious voice on today because we're going to be revisiting a topic that we revisited that we're probably going to have multiple parts for because we want to continue to revisit it and revisit it and revisit it. So basically, guys.
Today's Friday, by the way.
No, it's not. It's Wednesday. I can't stand her. Anyway, it's Wednesday, guys. As you can see, she's been tipping the glass, so it gets like that sometimes.
My first tip. It's literally my first tip.
Yeah, this is about mental illness. This toxic conversation is a good starter for this mental illness part two. I think that's 2 in French, and then dos is 2 in Spanish, and then 2 in ASL. You feel me? Getting that multilingual thing going on.
Not in ASL. Okay.
Yes.
I know that's right, girl. I know that's right.
So we're going to touch on a couple topics today. We're going to keep it to 2. We're going to discuss first, touch on self-diagnosing with the mental health. Whether it be like Google or basically Google. People love Googling stuff and they go on TikTok and they find these relatable quotes and these relatable statements and like, that's me. That's like the epitome of mental illness self-diagnosis. That's me. That sounds just like me. So
I got all these symptoms, all but one.
Or be like, that's you.
Yes. And we're going to start that with Ashley because she is a victim of that's me.
Ain't that something? Well, okay, look, let's get this cleared up first, real fast and real quick. My self-diagnosis is more or less like other shit. Like I catch a cramp or something, or it's my side hurting or something like that. Then I start Googling stuff and I'm like, oh, okay. Well, I think I have such and such. Not mental illness. I
think that can be a little sign of mental illness self-diagnosis because you really have no idea what you have, but you will Google non-scholarly resources. You don't even use the medical.
Tell the doctor what I have.
She don't even use the medical web. That's what I'm saying. She don't even use the medical
WebMD.
I'm not talking about WebMD because that's not. See what I'm saying?
Review articles, journals.
Right. She's not going
Reddit.
to the government site.
I use Reddit too. That's a reliable source right there.
Reddit is not reliable, but it is the nerd like TikTok. So they be having they're very knowledgeable on that. The point is, I think that everybody, including our special guest Emerald, welcome Emerald to the show. And I think with that being said, Emerald and Ashley both suffer from a little hypochondriacism, which can be classified as mental illness.
Okay.
Also mental
right.
illness.
Somebody does point fingers.
Right. Look how she talking and stuff.
Because I think it's a misconception. Like, people have such a bad stigma when you talk about and mention mental illness, and it really doesn't have to be so extreme. Everybody doesn't have this huge, extreme case, severe case of mental illness, which can cause, but I think what I believe to be is it just going too long undiagnosed. I think everybody with the right attention and with the right team really getting to understand, what their illness is and what they need to do to treat it without over-treating or over-medicated can be live a normal life. So and really, what is a normal life? But I definitely think hypochondriacism is a little piece. It does
absolutely.
And so when you're on Google diagnosing a hip cramp and now all of a sudden you got lung disease, I think that is a sign.
A hypochondriac is somebody that thinks something is always wrong. It's always something. I didn't say I always got something wrong.
You do. Every
That's
day.
a damn
How
lie.
often do you Google what's wrong?
Whenever I have an issue, I can't
And
figure it
how
out.
often do you have an issue?
Not that often.
And that's why she don't want to tell us.
Not that often.
That's all. It's that often.
And half the time I do be right when I self-diagnose. I tell the
half
doctor.
the time. 50%
I should
is
say
still
80%.
failing.
Probably 90%.
Oh, no.
For real. I'm so serious. That's all they do. All the doctors do is Google the shit. I'm just playing. I'm just playing.
So, how often do you self-diagnose?
Every time until I go to the doctor.
Do you see how she will tell us so often?
I'm telling
Because
you, it's every time. It's not every day, but it's whenever I have an issue.
It's about every day.
And I also diagnose other people.
Do you see the problem there? Do you see the problem?
I should have went to school to be a doctor because I be right. I be right. They be coming to me asking me, Mom, what's wrong? Hey, Ash, what's wrong? And I tell them.
So
But I have a question though. So y'all think everybody got a slight touch of mental illness?
Yes.
Yeah.
You do?
Yeah.
Tell us
Right.
why, and elaborate.
Well, I think that everybody has some sort of mental illness, but I think it depends what you have. Like, for example, we can use anxiety.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Everybody has some form of anxiety.
Okay.
The problem is when people start self-diagnosing,
Mm-hmm.
now you're listening on social media to someone who might suffer from, severe anxiety,
Mm-hmm.
and you're just having your everyday stress. And now I'm walking around telling everybody I have severe anxiety
Mm-hmm.
and I need to take medication and this and that. And now I'm trying to even prescribe myself certain medication, do certain things. And it's like, well,
It's like a rabbit hole.
that's out of context, right? Like, not everybody has severe anxiety.
Right.
That's an issue.
So-
You may struggle from, sadness here and there.
Mm-hmm.
Somebody else may suffer from severe depression.
It's not the
You
same.
do not suffer from severe depression. You could be going through a season in your life where you can be sad. Humans are allowed to have emotions and be sad.
Right.
I don't think there's anything wrong. I think there's a very fine line between self-diagnosing yourself and research. And I think that it's important for people to do their own
That's what I do.
research.
That's what I do. I do research. I don't just
I think it's
self-diagnose,
important
I
to
research.
research.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
And then you're missing a critical step, which is if something is really an issue, take it to a doctor.
Yeah.
Or
I do.
someone who, but then once you research
Bro.
and then you go telling people, oh no, this is what it is and this is what it ain't, you got this. And so now you need to live your life because you got this like that.
Research, guys.
But you might research.
Yes,
I'm just saying,
the
there's
hell
some
I
people
do.
who
Yes, the hell I do.
they've never researched in their
Do a
life.
Google.
Wait, hold
They're
on. Y'all
lying.
need to quit right now. Google
Yeah.
research.
Google does not.
Google is
that doesn't-
research.
No, it's not.
Yes, it is.
It's a form of research.
It's
I feel like
research.
Google is a form of
Because then you
research,
go to different links off of Google.
but how reliable are those
Thank
links?
you.
80%.
Are you
credible.
going to someone 80%? Are you going to someone who is a blogger who may have biased opinions? Are you going to someone who
I'm
is
going
a
to the
doctor
doctor
and
website.
has a okay?
Then I
No.
do.
Now
Listen,
go to the doctor website.
I go to the doctor websites first. Hold on.
WebMD.
That's one of them. That is one of the sources that I do go to. It's multiple, right? And then I go and see would people also like experience the same type of symptoms to see what they have. Then I cross-reference with the research,
That sounds
right?
like a little bit of research to me.
Using that
And then
voice
when I
don't
go
make
to
Yeah,
the
that
sense.
sounds like a
doctor,
little bit of research
When
to
I
me.
go to the doctor and I tell them all these things and I tell them what I think I have, and I ain't even lying. I'll be like, I'll be on point.
And I don't think it's a problem bringing
I
it to your
know,
doctor
right.
and saying, hey,
Maybe-
this is what I looked at,
maybe-
this is what I found. What do you think about that?
Exactly.
Maybe they just don't want to battle with what you found.
You know what? You got it. You got it.
So why are you?
You're right. We're not even
You
gonna
got a
argue
lung
with
infection?
you.
Sure.
You're right.
Sure.
You're right. You stubbed your pinky toe and now you got gangrene.
Right.
You're right.
You
You're right.
got
Take these antibiotics.
That'll make
See you
feel
next
better.
time. You know.
Stop. They haters, but
And I do think too that not everybody has mental illness too. I think piggybacking off of what Emerald said, you're pretty smart. I do think that sometimes you can just be sad, or sometimes you could be a little anxious and things like that. That doesn't mean you need to go be on medicine or subscribe yourself with something. And then they go down a rabbit hole. Like, people will research things and find the worst case scenario. They'll read the first 10 sites, will say, oh, it's very common. It's just, a small sprain, or it's just heartburn, or, depending on what they're trying to diagnose. The top 10 will say heartburn, gas, acid reflux, heartburn, gas, acid reflux. They go to item number 725 and say, I done had a stroke. I'm having chest pains. I'm having a heart attack. I done had a stroke, and I done had everything else. And I think that is a form of mental illness, because I think that stems from anxiety. Just always being like quick to just rush to assume that it's the worst and the wrong thing and everything like that. And I do think that people try to diagnose themselves with mental illness when they are just having a moment of sadness too. Or like you have a traumatic experience, like not even, I won't say super traumatic, but maybe like a breakup or maybe like a job loss, which can be a type of trauma depending on your situation. And instead of just knowing that, instead of receiving yourself as just processing that correctly, because the correct thing to do, or the common thing to do when you lose a job or in a relationship, is to be sad and a little anxious and a little down about it. That doesn't mean that you're manic, depressant, and schizophrenic. Like, it doesn't mean that. That just means you're going through a little something and you need to pull yourself out. But I think when you start self-diagnosing and going down a rabbit hole, it's harder for you to come out because you made yourself so deep into something that you were never in.
Yeah, you make yourself that. You
make it
depressed.
Down.
You make
so
yourself.
now you start feeling the symptoms you read.
You didn't have anxiety at first, but now you really got anxiety because you've been practicing like you had it for so long.
When really you could have just been boredom. You could have been losing sleep because you have a lot on your mind. You just lost your job, or you just ended a relationship, or there's a million things you could be going through something about, and you automatically you are an insomniac and you diagnosed yourself with sleep apnea or something all extreme because you can't sleep because you're going through a little something.
Well, what about on the reverse tip when you ignore all the signs?
Yeah, and I think that's important too because, just signs in general is like sometimes, and not in all cases, but I think that in some cases, social media puts like these mental health categories in a box, right? Where it's like, if you have depression, this is what depression looks like, and that's that. Mm-hmm. Where I feel like that could also be harmful, because what if depression doesn't look like that in every single person? Mm-hmm. And now you have maybe younger people who are trying to figure out, what that is. Hey, I'm sad. Is it depression? When I look up depression, oh yeah, I could be feeling that. I could be feeling this. And it's just like, these are not all the signs, And then people going to, if I think I have depression, kind of what you guys are saying was kind of like, if I think I have this or I think I have that, then I need to act like this. Mm-hmm. Because that's what this is supposed to be.
This says that this is how I act when I have this. Right. So now I do think that I act like that, even if you don't.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah, you start acting like that.
And right now you see, and like I said, I want to be sensitive, but right now you see a lot of people who like almost, what's the word I'm looking for? Like it's a trend to have ADHD.
It's a trend
not to focus.
Yeah.
It's a trend to
procrastinate.
All these things. Because it's trendy, and now I can make a YouTube video about it or a TikTok video about how I have ADHD because I can't sit down for 5 minutes, or I do these little things that it's like, that may not necessarily be ADHD. Mm-hmm. You just may need to hone in on and focus on a certain skill.
Just for the record, I hear what she's saying, but I really do have ADHD.
But what about, like I was saying, like the signs that you ignore? Like you could be really going through depression and you don't even realize that you're going through depression, and people be like, you seem like you're a little down. I noticed that you're sleeping a lot. I noticed that you don't want to go out. I'm fine. I'm just tired. What about on that aspect where people are not accepting that they really have these mental illnesses?
I feel like that's where maybe social media can come in, because I feel like if you don't notice that, you might see something where it's like, hey, these, and likewise, maybe in a different ways, these may be symptoms. You may, not want to face it. You may be in denial. That can also be a sign of this. Hey, if you notice that you can't, get out of bed, or you can't do this, you can't do that, maybe you need to talk to a doctor. Maybe you need to do this and that. So I think that there's pros and cons to everything. And a lot of the times when people are going through things that are mentally challenging, I think that, it's extremely hard to maybe get out of bed or do certain things. And
I don't like that though. I don't like people being so dependent on social media, because to me, social media and the internet is a form of isolation. So I think it's more dangerous when you are really going through something and you're doing this. You're flipping. You're just flipping to the point where you get to that point where you don't really realize that you are depressed, you're sad, you're going through something because you done went down the real rabbit hole, and you're scrolling, and you don't even. And I hate that. I think that.
With it.
Yeah, I think that's why it's so important for us to pull people out of that. People are so overindulged in Google searches and WebMD and social media that they don't really have that. With not you, I know for a fact that you don't have that because they don't really have that family or that community or that village or that network that's gonna be like, nah, you tripping, let's get out, let's go to the park, let's go for a walk, or just sit in the room with them and just sit there.
And
just
see, I think
present.
that's why people do like social media too, because if you are lonely, and I don't want to throw myself under the bus, but if I find myself scrolling way too long, and I hate this, there's this lady that eventually pops up. She's like, have you been scrolling? Oh my gosh, I lock my phone so quick, I put it up, I'm like, I'm done.
Sad.
But you
I
also
have seen those too.
Yeah, and you also find like depending on what side of TikTok or whatever social media you're on, you sometimes do get that where people are like, hey, if you're sitting in bed, you need to get up, you need to do this and that, and it could be to them for someone who doesn't have other people around something that can be considered motivational. Or when you are lonely, if I'm so lonely all the time and I don't have that support, I'm going to look on something else where I'm seeing people and I can interact, even though it may not be real life. Some of you people need to touch grass and you will feel so much better. But anyways, even though
she's talking about getting grounded,
even though it may not be real life, there's still some sort of sense of community I feel like people think they get when it comes to social media.
I think it's a form. I think it could be an outlet for a lot of people.
I
think it can be because you can go in there and express your feelings, put your little post
I think everything
out.
Definitely has
then,
balance.
Yeah, you can let some stuff out. And like you say, you can see the motivational videos and then posts. You see like good posts sometimes that you see on there that help you. So sometimes it's a
yeah,
good
but sometimes
outlet.
you gotta verify too though, because I called a couple people out on TikTok because. They be posting scriptures and they like it's the swipe. You know how they got the swipe that's the thing right now. Like everybody wants to swipe to the next slide, swipe to the next slide, swipe to the next slide. And I'm on TikTok and it's like if you're feeling down, if you're feeling out, if you want to give up, remember this. And then you slide to the next, and then it's like Ecclesiastes first 21 says. The problem with that is I have the gift of discernment, and so that makes me have like a kind of a trust issue when it comes to information and misinformation. And I will look that up right there. I will go to it and look it up, and a few times I'm like, what version of the Bible did you get this from? Because
it'd be like the amplified version, the Message.
But I'll pull it up and it still won't match. Like they'll tell you like, oh, this is this and this and this. Okay, well, I just pulled it up and this is what that version says. So so you got to be careful. You got to be careful with misinformation too with that. So if you are feeling depressed and you need some quotes or you need a community, there's nothing wrong with going old school. There's nothing wrong with actually opening the Bible and reading the book. There's nothing wrong. There's a lot of good motivational books that actually have facts and have done the research that are by actual psychologists and therapists and everything else. But then again, anytime you put people in something, it's still opinion based. So you really got to get to know you and
sometimes
like
it's just the message though that you need to see or hear.
I agree.
But sometimes it is. It might not. Sometimes you just need to see it and hear that right then and there, and you be like, you know what? Thank you, God, because I needed to see that. Sometimes it's just
I've
like
had a few of those moments.
Yeah, you know what I mean.
I just like what?
I mean, I agree, but
because there's nothing wrong with that, I guess, to a certain. Don't be trying to So my thing is, all that's great. I just don't. It's just not that simple. Like it's like saying. I feel like sometimes no, because you know what it is. Okay, let me just put it like this. Okay, drugs can sometimes make you feel good. That doesn't mean that they're good for you. And social media to me is a lot like that, because when you are in a down place, in a dark place and stuff like that, you're not just gonna look at the good, positive motivation things. You're also going to look at all the people that are probably not even depressed, probably using AI and computer generated posts and stuff like that to post all this negative stuff about how you feel a little bit, but now you feel deep down. Now you're crying and everything else because you're feeling like that's me. So I think that it's contaminated. I don't think that if I'm feeling down and out, I can go to social media and have enough mental control to only isolate myself to taking the positive. If I'm in that bad headspace, I'm gonna be more attracted to the negative by accident and not even realize it.
I definitely agree, and I also think too, the harm, which I've seen a documentary, it was on Netflix, it was pretty good, but it talked about, you know, your feed is going to spit out what you're engaging with.
Absolutely.
So if I'm
Absolutely.
very sad, I won't even use sad. Say I'm very, very happy, I'm excited. I just got a new boyfriend. My phone heard me talking about it.
Right.
Now it is going to
Same.
flood
Right.
my feed
Right.
with everything about new love, new boyfriends, because
Yes.
it knows that's what I want to see.
Yes.
Same thing. If I'm feeling really manic and I can't sleep at night, and it's going to flood my feed. And I think that's the dangerous about it, is because it's like once you're feeling like really sad, and I have moments where I just was feeling really down, and I'm just like,
We all have
you know,
that
it knows,
moment,
and
those
it knows,
moments.
it knows when you're just consistently on your phone. It knows what time it is. It knows that that's not a normal behavior. You must be feeling down. Let me flood your feed
And
with
I
what
turn
you
that
can
shit off
relate
'cause
to.
I don't like to feel worse than when I'm feeling.
And that's
I need
the
something
thing.
up
I
with
think
And
it's
that's the
more
thing,
dangerous
somebody
for
needs to
kids
have
than
it.
it is for adults, because adults, kind of like you were saying, have better discernment of saying, you know what, this doesn't seem too healthy.
Right.
Let me turn it off. Let me go figure something out. Where kids, and I've been able to see it, it's more of a, oh my gosh, that's me. Oh my gosh, maybe I should hate my life too because I'm sad too. Maybe I should, you know, do this too because I'm sad too.
But I don't think it's just kids though. That's the thing. I think it's adults. I think at any age, if you catch a person in that right moment where they're feeling
Vulnerable,
down,
right?
Some
they're
people thrive off of that
it's
too,
gonna
though.
be
Some people
hard.
thrive off of being down.
But that's
You
not
got the
healthy.
shade,
That's
all
my
that too.
point. That's not healthy, and it's gonna be hard to pull yourself out. Like, I can literally be sad and be looking for some motivation or something funny, and because I don't hashtag it and put it in the search engine, that's not what I'm gonna get.
Right.
Because as soon as the person comes on the phone that's crying and maybe feeling like I am, I'm gonna be sucked into that. And then guess what? That's giving it watch hour and watch minutes, and then that's when it feeds you. Oh, she watched this for a long time. Let's give her some more of those.
So
Boom,
quick advice
boom,
for some
boom.
of you guys. Some of you guys need to get a couple of pages that you guys follow. And go
No.
on there and look up for real. Cause like I have motivational pages that I go to for real.
She
Like,
gonna keep
that
you
I
on
go
social
to,
media.
That
She
I go to. It's not that social media is the fix for everything. No, it's not. No, I'm not saying that. But if you are gonna be on there and you are looking to
Make
uplift
it a positive
yourself,
environment.
then you should have some posts where or some pages that you know that you could just go to. Oopsie. That you can go and look at and find some encouraging words and stuff like that. That's
I
all I'm
definitely
saying.
agree. I feel like, and it's like one shoe doesn't fit all.
Right.
There are some people who you live on social media, and that's just the reality. And if you're going to be there, then like you were saying, make it a positive environment to be, and also set yourself up for success at the end of the day. You know, have things where it's like, I'm feeling sad. Let me go here. Let me, you know, see these pages. Let me, you know, if you're not going to reach for a Bible or maybe a book or, you know, to go outside and do this. Other people, they may be like, you know what? No, when I'm feeling like this, I understand it's important for me to get off of social media. Let me go do something else. So I feel like you have to know who you are and then find what works best for you to kind of pull yourself more in a positive environment.
And I think that your first go-to should be a person you trust. And if you don't have a person, you know, you trust, then get a therapist or get a psychiatrist, get some kind of person, get a live person to interact with, because you can go and feed yourself with, and this is just of course opinion based, because I am a street therapist. Let me throw this on
Lord
because-
Jesus, here we go, y'all. Here we go.
So you can go. No, seriously though, because you can go on social media and you can seek out those motivational quotes and motivational speeches and all that. But depending on how down you are and how deep you are, or even light, like it can definitely make you feel even more lonely. Like, why am I having to go to social media
And it does
to make
oftentimes
you
for
feel
people,
better?
yeah.
So I just think that it's important for social media to be entertainment, just that, just like television, just like movies and everything else. It needs to just be, everything has to, you have to put it in its place and leave it there. You can't lean on social media for motivation and stuff like that, because then you're gonna lean on social media to help you get into your deep depression and find the same kind of quotes that are relating to you, like, because they have a lot of depression stuff. And the fact is in real life, negative gets way more attention and influences our spirits and our emotions and everything way more than positive.
Absolutely.
So it has to be somebody, and everybody don't have somebody. So it can be a therapist. It can be like, that's normal. That's a perfect thing. There's people that talk to therapists that are not depressed. You don't have to be depressed or anxious or anything like that to speak to someone, but you do need a live person where the environment is going to be controlled, because when you're sad, down and out, you're not thinking rationally. You're not making rational decisions. Some of them might be rational, but they're all not. So why put yourself in a position to go down a rabbit hole? Like me, when I get down and out and I'm feeling the type of way, I don't watch my favorite shows. My favorite shows are like Criminal Minds and like, you know, all those Dr. Snaps.
Yeah, that's gonna take you down.
Yeah, all the murder, how to find, you know, all these shows that are like really like, and I know that when I'm down, I should not watch those shows because they're going to influence me.
Of course.
But everybody doesn't know the impact those have. They don't realize it, that when they're watching that kind of stuff, thinking that, oh, I'm just taking the load off. I'm just trying to get this off my mind. Now you went from being sad to a murderer in like 2.2 because your mind is open to that now, because you're not stable. You're not balanced. So to think that you could balance out your thoughts in your mind on social media when it's not balanced, it just doesn't make sense to me. It's like an addict. I can't say, oh my God, I don't feel good. I need a drink. I need a drink right now. If I'm down and out and I'm going to find liquor or something that's going to alter my mind state because I'm feeling down and out, I'm not balanced. I'm not going to make a rational decision. Eventually, I might go down the rabbit hole, and now I'm an alcoholic and now I'm drinking all the time because in that moment of sadness or downness, it made me feel better. Social media is the same way. It's all drug. Anything that we feed into that we don't have control over can really take over our minds and really have us in a way worse position, when if we wouldn't have fed into those things, we could have really been okay the next day. That's all I'm saying. We don't have control over social media to just go and only see those things. You can't isolate it like that, because as soon as you open it up, that For You page is popping. As soon as you open it up, that reel, because you just Googled depression or signs of anxiety, that's already in your phone.
Yeah, it's gonna
so
pop
as soon
up.
as you open up
It's
on
gonna pop
Instagram
up.
or TikTok, that's what's gonna pop
It's
up. So you call yourself going, oh, I need some motivation.
Girl, I'm gonna go to my pages.
Problem is
my
now,
prayer page, my motivational page, my Bible.
Yeah, but everybody's
not. This is my process. I know it's not everybody's process.
Yeah.
I know that.
So now I done went on here, I'm down and out, and I'm like, oh, I need some motivation. All I'm seeing is the stuff with definitions of all this stuff that I just diagnosed myself with. You know what I'm saying? Oh, anxiety. I hate having anxiety. I just want to be left alone. Oh, I'm so depressed. I just want to be in a dark place and just stay by myself.
That's a real thing.
Oh, I'm so this. And now you're thinking that these are the things that you're supposed to do, and now you've self-isolated. And the easiest way to do that is with social media. Social media, to me, when you're sad and depressed or anything, can make you and take you into the darkest, loneliest place in your life.
It has its
just like drugs.
Down, so I just.
Well, we're strictly talking. For me, I'm just strictly talking about like when you're down and out.
No, I mean like sometimes I go on there and shit just makes me laugh. I be rolling like
I love those days.
You go on, you might go on like on TikTok. Like you go on TikTok, I might leave from Instagram, go on TikTok. You start seeing shit that's funny. It takes your mind sometimes off.
Well, that's what
bullshit.
I do. When I'm feeling down, I do comedies. I just do control. Like I'll go on Netflix or something like that. So I don't have to see the negative stuff. I don't want to go down a rabbit hole of negativity when I'm looking for a joke.
I'm not going to
but y'all know, I will repost a reel in a second, and I love comedy.
Because it's going to make you laugh. I'll be on, and sometimes the comments too, I go in the comments on certain stuff, and I just be like, oh my God, these people are crazy with these comments.
Yeah, but for me, it's just not safe to assume that, because I've been blessed to where I don't have an addictive personality, but addiction does run deep in my family. So I don't want to assume that everybody is going to have the same self-control that you have.
Right, no, they don't. Everybody's not the same.
And that she might have, you know what I mean? Because I just don't want to push the agenda that I think that it's okay to be on social media and things like that when you're down and out.
Right. So what's your suggestion for when you are down and out? What do you suggest?
I suggest if you don't have a person that you can talk to and that you think will listen, and people, we have to do better ourselves as being better listeners and people that people can talk to and trust, to not go anywhere else. But if you don't have that, there's all types. As a matter of fact, I'll put them at the bottom of this episode. There's all types of free lines that you can call and really talk to people anonymously and call anonymously and really get a real life person, a real life interaction to where you're not going to be distracted by negative things, negative posts, negative feeds. Therapists are sometimes hard to get, so there are emergency depression lines and suicidal lines and stuff like that, and you don't have to be all the way depressed and about to commit suicide to use them. They're for people who just feel down and need somebody to talk to too. So I would recommend anything over something that is out of your control, like social media or drugs or liquor or anything like that. That can have an adverse effect. That can definitely have you getting the opposite of what you were trying to get out of a situation. That's my thing.
And you?
I'm glad you brought that up though, because I was going to say for the people who don't have that, so it's good to know that there's free things out there. Me personally, I would just say that invest in yourself, and that may even mean investing in what that looks like for you. What do you struggle with? What does self-help book work? Does journaling work? Does working out work? Favorite cook, whatever it may be. If it's healthy, find what works for you and count on yourself to do it, and have people around you who are gonna also hold you accountable. What do you think?
Same thing. I feel like you should definitely talk to somebody, but sometimes for me, I just need to be alone too. Sometimes I need to just process what's going on and have a moment of quietness so I could just figure, and sort some things out and give it to God. Like I need a quiet moment sometimes. And that helps. Sometimes I don't even want to talk to nobody. I don't want to see nobody. And it's not a form of depression. It's just I need a minute.
Yeah, that's quiet time to yourself is definitely not always a form of depression. I do it too. It's just in moderation. Everything is in control of moderation. So we're talking about, of course, the extreme things, like if you're in a hole by yourself for weeks at a time, or isolation for weeks at a time and things like that. We're not talking about you just needing a minute to just get yourself.
Right. And then like I know you're talking about like self-medicating, but for me it's like I smoke weed, so sometimes I be on 10, I be way up here, and I be wanting to say some like messed up stuff or do something real bad, and I smoke some weed, and then I'm like, okay,
not that bad.
I could calm down a little bit, and I'm like, damn, like okay, I feel a lot better. I came from 10 down to like maybe a 4. You know what I mean? So it's like. It's kind of like
we're gonna do that. We're gonna talk about.
But it's better than the Xanax. I mean, because the doctor gives you medication for depression too.
We're gonna talk about self-medication, medicinal, Western medicine versus natural medication. We're gonna talk about that on the next episode, because I think this is gonna roll us straight in there. Because that is a good point, and there's certain things that are natural that can help you relax and things like that versus unnatural uses. Yeah. And prescription. So we'll talk about that next time. Do you guys have anything else?
I don't.
What about you?
That's all, folks.
And the reason why we can't start another topic is because, as you can see, we all like to talk. And so some of us more than others. Some more than others. And we'll be here for another 45 minutes. So I hope you guys enjoyed our take 2 on mental illness. And we will see you guys next time. Not so reckless. Thank you, Em. What you do? Bye.
Don't start no shit today. I'm not in the mood to make that. No.
It's early, at least.
I'm not in. Just stop playing.
Come look at it.
No, I'm not.
This ain't that time where I gotta play. You can come look at it right now.
You ain't playing. You just outright lying.
Because it says 14 minutes 20 seconds. That's why. And I had the timer. I clicked it on pause after like 31 minutes. So I'm just saying. But it was only 30 minutes. It was only 30 minutes.
She lying.
Can you fix your face?
She lying.
Can you fix your face?
For real?
Yeah.
Can you fix your face, please?
Speak up.
Should we do this
Come
time or the
on.
next
She
time?
already told me. Oh,
He's in the room.
Here, oh, you see here the whole time. So what, do
Okay.
we just retake?